Okay, so now we're on the pre-registration vaccine portal. So when you get to this page, take your time, read through the options and the steps. Make sure you fully understand the process. So again, when you get into this system, it'll tell you a little bit more about those eligible groups that we reviewed in the last video. So it'll talk about, for now, phase 1 and phase 2 groups. But as more groups become eligible, they'll be added here as well. So take your time and figure out where you fit in this list and the highest spot that you fit in if you fit in more than one place. So then in step 2, it's going to tell you a little bit more about how you'll be contacted for an appointment. And again, there's a great reminder there that if you gave us your email and we're going to be contacting you via email to book your appointment, please check your junk and spam folders regularly. Lastly, step 3 gives you a little bit of information about what you'll need for your actual appointment day, as well as some information that public health takes vaccine prioritization very seriously. We are following the Ontario framework quite closely. So providing any false information or saying that you might belong to one of these phases when in fact you do not may result in the cancellation of your appointment. Or if you were making this appointment as part of one of the occupational groups, it may result in notifying your appropriate regulatory college. So that's just a note to let people know that as vaccine supplies are ramping up, everybody who is eligible, so over the age of 16 who wants a vaccine, will receive one. We are opening new phases and new priority groups as quickly as vaccine supply will allow. So if you do not currently fit into any of the categories in phase 1 or phase 2, please just check back regularly and register when it is appropriate for you to register. So when you've read all this information carefully, you can click Register Now, and it will ask you the reason for your immunization. So that's all of those same groups that we talked about in the previous video listed here. So I'm going to say that I'm an adult 60 to 79 years of age. And then I can just click on this category here. And that'll bring me further along in the process. Okay, so this brings us to a page that asks us to fill in our information. So what we're going to do is just take this nice and slow, make sure that everything here is spelled correctly and we have the right information, because you will need to input the same information when it comes time to actually book your appointment. So first thing to note is that all of these fields that are marked with this little red asterisk indicate that it's a required field. So that's something that you must put in an answer for. So let's start out with our first name. Let's say our name is John Doe. And our date of birth would be, let's say, January the 1st, 1960. Now it's much easier to actually type this in using the format suggested below. So in this case, they want the month, 01 / and then the day, 01 / and then the full year, so 1960. So make sure that you have that in the exact same format that it's asked for down here. And then it'll actually pop up on the calendar as well, so you can use that to double check that you've done it correctly. The next required field is our gender. So let's say we're male here. And then they ask for the OHIP number. So as I might have mentioned before, OHIP number is not a required field. We don't see the little red asterisk beside this one. But if you do have an OHIP number, please input it here. It's going to make the process much easier. When you're inputting your OHIP number, be very careful and enter numbers only. So don't enter the dashes that appear on your card or the spaces or the letters at the end. So I'm not going to put in an OHIP number for the purposes of this video, but you can input yours. and then we'll press next. Okay, now we're looking for your contact information. So again, you'll want to be very careful as you type your contact information to make sure that you type it correctly so we'll be able to contact you when the time comes. So here I'm going to use communications@wellington-dufferin-guelphpublichealth.ca, and then we'll ask you to type it out again, and that's again just another fail-safe to make sure that you have everything spelt correctly. And then just do a quick visual confirmation, make sure those look the same. Very good. And then also, if you'd like to receive text messages from Public Health, we'll ask for your mobile phone number. So put in your phone number. And again, we'll ask you to confirm it to make sure you've given the exact right number. And then you can also input your home phone number if you would like. I'm not going to fill this part of the form out right now, but that will give us just another way of contacting you if we need to. This next question, if there are vaccines available at the end of the day, would you be willing to be contacted to visit a vaccination clinic on short notice? So this is, for example, if we have a couple of extra doses at the end of the day because there were more doses in the vial than we had people scheduled in the clinic. We want to work through that using the Ontario Framework for Vaccine Distribution. So we'll call people from this pre-registration. So in this example, yes, I have the flexibility to be able to run over to a vaccination clinic at short notice. So I'll say yes. And then they'll want your home address. Again, this is a very important field, especially in this example. So in this example, I've said I am eligible for vaccination because of my age. And we could really only take folks who are within the Wellington-Dufferin-Guelph boundaries there. So when you're inputting your address, make sure, make sure you pay very close attention. And you do have your address locally. Now, if you are registering as perhaps one of the occupational groups in phase 1 and phase 2, and you live out of Wellington-Dufferin-Guelph, but you work within Wellington-Dufferin-Guelph, there will be a spot further on in this pre-registration process for you that asks you to input your employer's address, and that's how we'll verify that you are part of our region. So the next button that we click is called Preview. The Preview button gives us the chance to take a look at all of the information that we've filled in and have one last read through to make sure that everything is accurate. Making sure everything matches. And if you do notice a mistake at this point, that's not a problem. Just go ahead and click the big Edit button, and that's going to help you edit the form. If everything on this page looks good to you, you can click Submit. And now we have successfully pre-registered. You will know that you have successfully pre-registered as long as you reach this page. So as long as you get to step 4 here, complete, where it says you have successfully registered, and we will contact you by email and text message when you are eligible to book an appointment. Now, this can take quite a lot of time. So as I said, we are having both phase 1 and phase 2 eligible folks register via this system. But if you're a little bit further along in that list in phase 2, for example, it could take maybe 4 to 6 weeks or more before you hear from Public Health about the way that you can book your appointment. So please be patient. As long as you have reached this page, you are going to be someone who we have on our list, and we will connect with you when your turn comes up. It's also really important to note that the booking email could go to your junk or spam folder. So please check that folder regularly to make sure you haven't heard from us.